happen button. Good evening, everybody. It's Monday at 9:30 on the East Coast, 6:30 on the West Coast. It's your weekly Calamity James live stream. James, how are you doing
I'm doing
on this
great.
early June evening?
Yeah, I'm doing just fine. How are you doing over there?
I'm hanging in there, recovering from birthday festivities of the weeks past.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned how long we've known each other since, what, 2006, 2007, something like
Yeah,
that.
about that. Yeah.
I learned tonight that your birthday is 2 weeks before mine. So it only took 13,
You know,
14 years, something like that.
I was just thinking about this. I think I got you a birthday present last year, but then I forgot your birthday this year. So
Yeah,
I don't know what's
I think
worse.
you actually did.
Yeah, I
What's
think I
worse
did.
what's way worse is that I never knew your birthday.
No,
That's
I think
way
it's
way worse.
I don't know. I think it's worse that I knew your birthday and I just forgot it.
Okay.
I just yeah. I don't know. I don't
It's
know. I
yeah. I
guess we
mean, we
could.
could compete on who's the worst
Yeah,
friend, I guess, if you wanted to. But I feel like we
yeah,
should just go ahead and talk about our cartoon instead. What do you think?
yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
we can compete about that. For next year, we'll compete even worse. Well, or better. I don't know how you would, or
No.
you would
Well,
not.
yeah. Now the stakes are higher, and
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um, let's see. What am I going to work on today? I wanted to talk to you about. Let's go back to Dry Gulp Gorge. I'm going to share my screen. So one
Okay.
second
Let's
here.
take a look at that. This is how
Um,
professional we are, ladies and gentlemen. We have no idea what we're doing. James is like,
no, that's part of the
What
fun.
are we gonna talk about tonight?
Yeah, it was kind of a. Uh, I thought about it this weekend. Like, what am I going to talk about with Eric on Monday? And
Mm-hmm.
this needs to kind of happen only because I threw it into the works. So let's see, I'll share screen. So we're back to this. So we're back to Dry Gold Gorge again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
See
Mm-hmm.
that right?
Yeah, there's
So here I am
the
on Blender.
town. Yeah, the town shop. Yeah.
Yeah. So the town shop, I wanted to kind of focus on that today.
Okay.
What got me thinking about this was you asked about last week what my process would be to design a character, like how do I start?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I wanted to design a Japanese shopkeeper, the general store person today,
Okay. Great. I love it.
and kind of chat with you about it a little bit.
Okay.
So let me fire up. I'm not going to keep Blender open anymore because it hogs up to me. I don't want to use the resources for it.
Yeah.
So
It's yeah.
that's out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, See, I just went on the internet and kind of just did a general search. I just looked up Japanese shopkeeper, and this is kind of what I came up with. First off, right off the bat.
Right. The
So
Yakuta are the Oh man. I hate it when you have words and then they just literally evaporate from your brain
oh, that's the
like they were
worst.
never
Yeah,
there. Oh
yeah.
well. Oh, okay. Anyway, yep, yep,
Or
yep.
or long term birthday dates, and they just slowly
And they just
evaporate over a
slowly, yeah,
year.
they just slowly fade away. I mean,
Yeah.
so I did. My birthday was the big 40.
Oh wow, wow.
Yeah,
That's a big deal.
I
Yeah.
know.
Welcome to getting old.
Hey, I love
It's
it.
great.
I'm ready.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
so ready to be, and I've got a while to go, but I am so ready to be the old guy who just doesn't care anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've been
Mm-hmm.
there, I'm done that. And then everybody thinks it's cute because you're old. Like I'm so ready to be that
You
guy.
just want to be cute and old.
Yeah, cute
Yeah,
and old. Yeah,
yeah.
but yeah, no,
Um,
40 on Saturday.
cool,
So
man.
yeah. Oh, but okay, so we're looking at shopkeepers here. Are
Yeah, I'll
all
just use.
yeah?
Oh, good.
Are all the
Um,
photos that you found? Are you intentionally wanted to do sort of an elderly shopkeep or what?
yes.
Okay,
So this is the. I mean, I'm just using this as general reference. I'm not. I don't even
yeah.
know if I'm going to use anybody. I was thinking about doing a husband and wife team
Oh, I like
inside
that.
the
I like
shop.
that idea a lot, actually.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I mean, so I grabbed this one. Here's some. I'm not. I wouldn't do this design myself, but
Right. Right.
sure, I got it. So this guy was intriguing to me, so I grabbed him. And she's interesting. I like her hat,
I
but I
love
don't
the hat.
know.
I was just saying, like, yeah, yeah.
So
She's
I might
got.
grab that. If we're doing a mother and wife team, I might borrow that hat for the iteration I do.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the let me talk about the shop by itself first.
Okay.
So I'll do some sketching here first. So like as we looked at, we saw the building, and the building itself is pretty tall, right? So I'm going to give you a really, really loosey-goosey sketch of the interior space, looking upwards. All right.
Oh, so we're
So
okay. So this is we're inside the
we're
we've walked
inside.
in the front door and now we're
Yeah.
looking up at the interior space because we as we discussed
Yeah.
last week, the
Hmm.
walls are lined all the way to the top of the pagoda
Yes.
with different items,
Yes.
and they go
So
up and down to get the things.
yes.
Okay.
Yes. So imagine these are shelves, and this is really crude, but I'm just going to loosely sketch it out just while we talk.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine, and this is all around you. So all sides will have this. So there'll be shelves, and on these shelves there'll be railings like this
Mm-hmm.
that hook into each shelf, um, and uh, and like an escalator type of thing that kind of hooks in
Mm-hmm.
to let you access going up and down. Now the reason why I'm doing this is because let me add another layer here. Catches up. Is the character itself. I'm going to just do a loose sketch of the character here. I want the character to be physically challenged, or
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the proper PC term is, but disabled or
I think
physically challenged.
disabled is fine. Yeah.
All right. Um, so there'll be controls like a Wii nunchuck type of thing that'll be
Mm-hmm.
on here. Um, and the wheelchair itself will be kind of a heavy duty, like kind of like a 4x4 wheelchair
Mm-hmm.
type of tire thing. But underneath it is the actual latch.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you were to look from behind, if you were to look at it from a rear view, it's a little latch that kind of plugs into the railing uh, of uh, of the shop itself. So
Yeah.
this little dude, the little shopkeeper can actually just kind of ride the rails, kind of like Mrs. Deagle in Gremlins. Remember that
Oh
one
yeah.
shot where she goes up the stairs and
Yep.
she hooks up a wheelchair to go up the stairs.
Yep.
Well, this is
Yep.
how the shopkeeper actually navigates his whole store. But he'll hook onto the thing, go and grab it, grab an item, and then get back on, and then use the chair, and then come back down again.
I love it.
You like
I
to?
really love the idea too of it being an elderly couple. Um,
Yeah.
we don't actually have a lot of elderly people in Dry Gulch Gorge right now. So the idea that it's this kind of happy elderly couple in Dry Gulch Gorge, I'm a huge fan of. And the husband is always sort of behind the counter,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
Or no,
Well,
the
actually,
wife is always behind the counter. I'm sorry, I meant to say the wife is
yeah.
behind the counter, and the husband is the one moving around on his wheelchair to go get all the goods from the shelving.
Yes. Yeah.
Right,
Exactly.
right.
So she'll always be here managing stuff, and then so then she'll hand him a ticket. Here's what they want, and then
Right, coming right
he
up.
takes off,
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
his thing, and he goes to town, and goes up and down the railing.
And I love the idea too, just as from a visual gag standpoint. The
Hmm.
first time we see it, and we can belabor it as much as we want if it's really funny, but he's like very slow and like brr, brr, right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then once he gets the thing hooked into the rail, zip 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 zip, right, it moves around
Yes. Yeah. It moves
really
really
quickly.
fast.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a
So
fish back in water, right?
there's more to this couple too. So okay, well, first of all, so I'm hemming and hawing between, are they both disabled, or is one physically fine, physically able to use all of her, I mean, is the wife in perfect tip top shape, and then the husband needs the wheelchair to get around, or are they both disabled and they both can manipulate the store at the same time? I'm just throwing this out there. I don't know. We're making this up as we kind of
I
go,
mean, I think
but
for me, my instinct says is that we don't have to necessarily address it for the wife.
mhm.
She's just always behind the counter, and we always see her
Sure,
behind the. I mean, she's a Legend of Zelda shopkeep, right?
sure, sure.
Like I
Yeah.
think even if we see her out and about in town, there's always some bizarre justification for why it looks like she's behind a counter, right?
Uh-huh.
So like, you know,
That'd be funny.
yeah,
You know,
wherever
and
we see her, it's like she's behind the counter, right?
and she's also always behind. She could also technically always be behind him, pushing
Yeah.
him around, I
Right.
guess.
That yeah, you could do that too, but we just don't ever see. I don't know. I think there's a fun visual gimmick where no matter where she goes in town, somehow she's always obscured, and so it always kind of looks like, whether she's pushing her husband around, or she's just standing around, it looks like she's behind the counter, right? And then the husband, his natural element at this point, because he's been doing this so long, is actually on the rails of his shop, right? And so when he's up there, he's zooming along, and he's completely free, right? But then when he gets back on the ground, then he becomes back, he's in his wheelchair again.
Yeah,
So,
I think that works. So it's funny. I'm trying to be conscious about how I'm designing him now. Like, so this is design process. What we're doing, I just happen to be doing it with you. Normally I do
right.
it solo,
No,
but
this
it's
is
kind of fun to
great.
do it and bounce ideas off. But you notice I started with his head first, but then I'm
Yeah.
also going for the line of action of how I
Yep.
want him to feel.
Yep.
Um,
I mean, already you get that sense of hunched over posture. It gives him
yeah,
this sense of age. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. And then of course he has the Wii nunchuck type thing,
Right.
because that adds a little bit of a technological kind of nerdy gamer feel to it
Yeah, a
too.
little.
Because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, but yeah, I'll elaborate that more. But I'm just trying to get a feel for how this wheelchair is going to feel with him.
What do you? So here's a thought. Since we're in the very early stages, and maybe it's premature, and
Mm-hmm.
please tell me if it is. But what does the wheelchair look like? Is it like a Big Hero 6 kind of everything is got curves? Is it more Patrick Stewart as Professor X in X-Men? Is it a traditional wheelchair? You know what I'm saying?
All right, again, there was more to these characters than just making them just for the shop.
Mm-hmm.
And this is there's going to be, we're talking about classified information that I want to talk to you about, but I'll allude to it. I think you'll be able to read my mind as to
We'll see.
what it what it means.
I've
But
been in your mind before. It's a dark
yes,
place.
I know it's insane. I know. I'm sorry. I apologize. But the the choice to make it a traditional looking wheelchair
Mm-hmm.
is interesting. But at the same time, I also want to reveal this to you. And again, we don't have to. We're not classifying this because this character is being made right now. So I'm just going to discuss this with you too. But
Mm-hmm.
let me lock this character up. How do I lock it? There we go. Lock there. All right. So let me just. One more thing I got to do. Sorry, I got to do boring stuff here. Let
No,
me
that's
tint
fine.
this
That's fine.
down. All
Honestly,
right.
so much of art is the boring stuff, but
Yeah, it's true.
it's the boring stuff. It's the fundamentals that really make it so that you can do the really exciting stuff. So,
All right. So for some reason, I want him to have an underbite. I don't know why, but
mm-hmm.
that's just what I felt with him.
I think that's
Um,
fine.
but that wheelchair
Mm-hmm.
is actually an exoskeleton.
Oh, you want to go with an exoskeleton?
Yes, so he can actually, and this is
Interesting.
revealed way, way later.
Mm-hmm.
But this tech, it already exists, and it has the same origin as other
So
tech.
it's from the same company.
It might be from the same company that may have created something else that's very technologically
Oh,
advanced,
I
but it's a
love
relic,
the
and
idea. No,
it's an old
that's
prototype. It's an old prototype.
it's a great
Before,
idea.
I'm just
Yeah,
saying, Eric, before anything more advanced comes along, there is a history to it. The
yeah.
blueprints exist,
No,
and
I think but I think we should take it a step farther. I think that this company is the Wayland Yutani of our world, right? It's the global megacorp that makes it's Acme. It's what makes all of the if you see
yep,
advanced
yep,
technology
yeah,
in Claim to Jane's world, it comes from this manufacturer, right?
yeah. Hmm.
Um, yeah, I think it's great. I think it's a phenomenal idea. Okay, so
So
then I get a sense then of what design aesthetic you're going to go for because we want to be really consistent with
yes,
that
we
sort of
could. But so again, so you brought up a really good question, which is, do we want to go traditional with a traditional wheelchair? Well, if you go traditional, then you do disguise it a lot, and to the point where nobody's going to suspect it when it's revealed.
well
However,
unless they watch this stream in which
yes,
case
unless
they'll
they watch the stream, and then yes, exactly,
already
that's the thing, is it gives away. But you know what? Like I said, we're making this on like I literally
yeah
just want.
yeah
I didn't do anything except for just do Google Pics and just to talk to you about it tonight. But then the other thing is we can say that it does look like a relic in good old fashioned wheelchair because it's a prototype or it's an early iteration of this advanced tech that came much later,
Well, then when I think,
right?
yeah, but if we go that way, and I'm not, but what I mean to say is, yes, and if we go that way, what I think we should do is make it look a little kludged together, right? Like this was a prototype, so it's all of these off the rack parts that they've kit bashed together to create this thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe if you really want to go down a rabbit hole, we could do a sort of Guillermo del Toro inspiration kind of thing, where there's lots of cogs and gears everywhere, because that's a thematic element that he uses a lot in his films.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool. I mean, gears, cogs, those kinds of things look really cool. They look physical and substantial and interesting. And because they've got all of these notches and teeth and in irregular shapes, they're fun to look at and watch them move, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we go the old route, I like the idea that it's like a kit bash, right? It's this mix of old technology and new technology to a certain extent.
Yeah, that's a good way to go. It's sort of a nice compromise too. So that way it gives hints of like there's more to meets the eye.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then also then you get to disguise it because you I'm making the assumption that once you see him rig it to the store shop and he uses it, that's what it's used for. But
Right.
really it's not
Right.
because
Yeah.
later
Yeah.
on in our writing department there will be
Right.
reason for him to
No,
actually
when he
use.
has his Yoda Attack of the Clones moment, that's
Yes,
when,
it could
yeah,
be.
yeah, exactly.
So yeah, so here we go. We're creating a character from zero, and that's kind of where we're at now. We've established some lore
I love it.
more than just the shopkeeper.
I love
Um,
this character already. My mind
Good.
is already sort of um, going crazy
Devising
with
plans.
ideas. Yeah, like sort of almost like this is going to be a character that becomes a main character, like he and his
Oh
wife
wow.
as a duo. I don't know. There's just something interesting I like about them as a duo, and I'm very interested to see how the design shapes up. Um, and I think there's a lot of potential with these guys. I don't know. I don't know. It's really they're just even if they're only secondary characters, they are going to be common secondary characters because I love the idea that this guy's world has become this chair and it's not a disability for him anymore, right? In
Hmm.
fact, it's what gives him his power, and I think that's
Yeah.
great. And I also really love the idea of this couple that's just been together since the Big Bang, basically,
Hmm.
and they're I think it's great, and they're totally supportive, and they're that great kind of archetypal old couple who has seen it all and been through it all together. They have scars that they've given each other, but they've gotten through the other end of it, right?
Speaking of scars, the other thing I want to so it's not just him,
Yeah.
but the wife actually has a history as well.
Uh huh.
Um, if we're going to hint or allude to this tech, she was actually his partner with his tech, if you want to say that, right?
Yep.
And some sort of tragic accident happened, and that's what's led him to be in his situation. And there's a little bit of a guilt factor with her
Yeah.
because they both worked on this tech together.
So I want to avoid the guilt fact.
Okay,
I
all
think that
right.
they've been together. I'm right there with you. I knew you were going to say basically everything that you just said.
Yes, there's a causation to why he's where he is.
Exactly, but I don't think
So
that
now,
there's a
as a
guilt.
writer, how do you get out of the guilt thing? Though I'm very curious to see
Well,
how you.
she may have had it at some point, but I guess my point is that they're so far beyond it at this point
Uh-huh. Sure.
that they have they've completely synthesized it into their experience. Like they talk about it openly, right? I mean, if you were
Hmm.
to ask him about it, and he doesn't judge her, and she doesn't judge him, and
Yep.
far be it, right? Like his existence wouldn't be what it is if the experiences of his life hadn't occurred. Like
Hmm.
I don't want to write this guy like he's somehow worse off. I really like the idea that he really digs kind of the existence that he's created for himself. When he's on his wall zooming around in his store shop, like that's life for him, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you know, and his attitude, if you were to talk to him about it, is like, yeah, it was awful. Like what happened was awful, and you know, we worked through that. But who I am now wouldn't have been possible if it weren't for the experiences that I had, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is it would be because again, she has scars too, and maybe they're not physical scars, maybe they're mental scars, but she was a victim of whatever this accident was as much as he was, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
they both had demons that they needed to conquer, but they did it together, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's the beauty of this couple. The what happened to them, and maybe there could even be larger consequences, right? Like, you know, maybe to some extent, you know, their existence they think is just penance for the unintended consequences of whatever this accident was, or maybe not. Maybe that's too hard, but
Mm-hmm.
um, 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 but you know, it was this hardship that galvanized their relationship and turned them into the couple that we see in the show. Like
Mm-hmm.
almost implying that had they not had this experience, maybe they wouldn't have even made it. That's not to say, you know, let's have a kid to save a marriage kind of thing, but that
Mm-hmm.
it was that shared experience that galvanized their existence as a partnership, right? And it made their bond even stronger. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I just really, I don't know, I just really, really just think this is fertile ground. I just think there's a lot of fertile ground, and almost to the point. And I'm super putting the cart before the horse here, and it's not something that we would cover immediately, but almost to the point where they become maybe not parental figures, but like grandparental figures to
Mm-hmm.
Calamity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, she is a shoulder to cry on. The husband, the shopkeep, gives Calamity some advice, right, when she
Mm-hmm.
needs it. You know, she doesn't have Leon to guide her.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Mitchell is a friend, you know, in as much as Mitchell's
Yeah.
capable of being a friend.
Yeah.
Um, and that's really and Tinsel, but Tinsel, you know, is limited in the way that she can communicate with Calamity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, so at some point, she will need to have guidance. She will need to have support, and that's where these characters come in, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I'm just instantly enamored of these two, and like I really want to explore them.
Yeah.
So
I'm
yeah,
glad. I'm glad. I'm glad your light bulbs went off. You know, like I said, it's always it's for the most part. I think when I send a character away, for the most part, it works. For you, I mean, I think your start grinding. That's what makes this process so fun. You know, and
yeah,
obviously there's gonna be times where there's gonna miss or like where it's kind of like more. There was that one character I came up with what a couple months ago, the ephemeral, the kind of ghosty character.
yeah,
There's a little more of a question mark. Like we you know we may not
yeah,
ever
yeah,
use that type of character, but it feels
yeah.
like with these two, they are quickly becoming a fixture in
No,
Dry
I
Gulf
just
Gorge within within our stream.
what it's
So
it's just interesting because what it is showing to me is that there was a character that, and in this case, I think a pair of characters that we were missing for Calamity, and I think that you inadvertently stumbled onto a problem that we were going to have at some point down the road.
hmm,
And you know, I think that these characters will be the solution to that problem because there is a point where Calamity is going to, because we all have, we've come up to a problem or a challenge that we just frankly don't have the tools to
yeah,
solve, our own
yeah,
personal tools to solve, and we have to rely on external support, right?
yeah,
And to
hmm,
this point, and I think um, uh, it's fine in the early days of the show because we need to establish who Calamity is and how capable she is as an individual. But there
hmm,
will be a point. There will absolutely be a point where she comes up to a problem where Leon can't help her because he's dead, and obviously Tinsel can't help her, and Mitchell is not able to help her, honestly. And certainly most of the citizens of Dry Gulch Gorge aren't going to fulfill that role. But these two, they fulfill that role for me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. One other thing that you kind of got me thinking about is you were saying a couple that has a child to save their marriage type of thing. There are ways. I don't know how much you want to go down this rabbit hole, but again, just based on what we've talked about, there are. I mean, the possibilities are endless as to how you want to tie them in with anybody else or any of the characters. Again,
Yeah,
I'm
we
being
can, we can,
very
we, yeah, we
coy.
can. No, I know exactly what you're referencing, and
Yes.
I think it's
Yeah.
a really good idea, and I think
And
it's something we should not take off the table. I think
yeah.
that you may be onto something there, but I know
Yeah.
exactly what you're talking
Okay.
about. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, and I think it's a
that's
really good idea.
Yeah. I mean, just from what you're telling me, because you just added their parental figures for Calamity, and so if that's the case, then blah blah blah. That
Mm-hmm.
makes it even more
Mm-hmm.
worse, because blah 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 blah.
By the transitive property, and
Yeah.
and then that, yeah, no, I know. And this is, by the way, for people watching, this is like, we've been working on this so long. We really do. We really are good at completing each other's sandwiches. Um,
Yeah,
um,
it's pretty funny. Like we're actually doing self censorship, like we're putting the black bars over certain things because
yeah,
we don't
yeah. We're
say
self
stuff. It's so
redacting, but then like we know what we're saying. But
Yeah.
that's, I mean, that's honestly, I think that that's a good thing, because it goes to show how much we live in this world, that we can speak in incomplete sentences. Not even
Because I
incomplete.
do all
Like,
the time.
we can speak in incomplete sentence fragments. Um, well, I guess that was redundant. I was trying to be clever and I failed, but whatever.
It's
Um,
okay. All of my half completed sentences are I'm always trying to be clever and I fail miserably. So, and that one
well,
was completed, sort of.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
But no, I think like what you've, I think that this is kind of writes a whole series of episodes with your suggestion just now. And it's
Okay.
really hard because I'm super excited about this now and I really want to talk about it.
Yeah.
But it's like, it would do a disservice for the fans to talk about something that's not going to happen for a while.
I know. I know. That's what's sad.
But I mean,
It's
but for the fans, at least, they know that this is like stuff we're thinking like seasons ahead, right? Like,
This one's gonna go. This is pretty much if you're just after as we went on the stream. So this would be this reveal would be like season 5, 6.
well, I mean, it depends on how many episodes we want to do in a season.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah, yeah. But whatever. I mean, at this point,
yeah, this is it's a late one. Yeah, I would imagine that this would not be something that. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. But it's funny. Yeah, this all came about because you asked me about character design process last week, and
Yeah, and
I
because you put a random pagoda in Dry Gulch Gorge.
yes, exactly. Isn't that funny? Isn't that weird?
It is just crazy, and
But
now
now
I'm like
that's it. We've got
fallen in love with
layers.
these characters, and I've like written an entire. Well, we have written an entire history for them.
Yeah, it's funny
Um,
because again, like just like we were saying, finishing sentences and stuff. Like I'm drawing, and then you're finishing the
yeah,
writing part. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. No, I
Same
know
thing.
exactly what you mean.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and one last thing. So if you look here, I'm doing this is a very general character design type of thing. But you don't look here. I have her doing this kind of line of action,
Yeah.
or she can be more straight up and proper.
No,
Thoughts?
I really love the sort of the lean in. It gives her
Okay.
a softer look. It gives her a, I don't know. To me, it makes her feel more caring with the lean rather than straight
Uh-huh.
up. When she's straight up, it gives her a formal look that I don't want her to have. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
like that like very prim, proper posture like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I imagine like almost like finishing school or something like that. But sort of the nice, gentle lean in. That kind
Yeah.
of lean in gives her a softer, more caring look to me.
Yeah. The only thing I'm thinking about is because they're a couple. I do like a contrast where one is leaning and the other one is not. And
Yeah,
it's purely superficial. Everything you're saying, I totally and I completely am on board with as well. I'm not. I'm only simply exercising, like, okay, should I choose green or red? That it's
Mm-hmm,
like that
mm-hmm.
comes out of that. But so that's what helps me when I'm talking to you about that type of stuff too, because I want to hear your
Yeah.
thoughts on it.
Well, yeah. I mean,
That's good.
that's my opinion, but obviously,
Hmm.
like, it's not. I'm not. I'm certainly not digging my heels in on that, right? I mean, I trust
Yeah.
your judgment completely. Like, I have to rely on the kindness of animators and artists.
What I might do is, as we explore these characters further, I'm gonna put them in a line. I'll put them next to each other.
Okay.
I think in general, I think he's pretty much, he's in the spirit of going the right direction. I'm gonna make him smaller. So
Yeah, I just the other
that
thing
type of
I
stuff.
love about this guy is like he has so much opportunity to teach Calamity. Like the first time she encounters him and she sees him moving around, and she's young, right? And so she
Yes.
sees this older person, and she's like not grossed out by him, but like concerned for him or almost fearful, right?
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
I'm afraid that I'm gonna be like that one day, right? But
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
he's not enfeebled by it. He's not upset
Yeah.
by it. He's very much happy with his existence and the
Yeah.
things that he's learned. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hmm.
And it's a great opportunity for Calamity to learn something about the value of aging, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, and maybe it's just that I'm 40 now and I'm old and my perspectives have changed.
Hmm.
But I really like these characters. So
Cool.
yeah,
Well, I'm glad. I'm stoked, man. I'm glad you liked them. That means
basically what we do when we're not on camera and we're brainstorming stuff.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
like this is literally as real as it gets.
Yeah, you saw, like I literally went on Google, found some pictures, all because of, yeah, the whole story is
Yeah,
funny.
yeah,
All because of a random pagoda.
that was just
All
fun.
because of a random pagoda.
All because of a random pagoda. Well, that's the title of the stream tonight, at least.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Well, we're at 32 minutes. I think that's a pretty good stopping point.
Cool.
But I'm excited. I can't wait to see more of these characters. I'm already like I've got like 3 episodes written in my head. Um,
See, success.
yeah, so this is great. But yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed watching us geek out on our own ideas a little bit as much as we enjoy doing it. And we'll see you next Monday, right?
Yeah, I guess next
I
Monday.
assume.
Yeah, that's
I don't
the
know why
same
that was a
old, same
surprise
old.
for me.
Yeah.
What? Next Monday? But be safe out there, everybody, and we'll see you in your week. Have a good one.
Bye, everybody.
Good night, everybody.